back with stories 5 and 6 today, and the first story here is going to be on this small little page on the left. It is of my cat that likes to climb in the cabinet where I keep my purse and things, so don't mind the mess in the cabinet, but I wanted to tell the story of my cat. He is ridiculous, and he likes to open up the cabinet door and then climb in there for I don't know what reason, just to hide, I guess. And every time I open the cabinet and find him in there, I always think of the movie The Christmas Story, where Ralphie's little brother is hiding underneath the sink after Ralphie gets in a huge fight. And his brother thinks that his dad's going to kill Ralphie. And I don't know why, but I always think of that movie when I open the cabinet, even when it's not Christmas time. So I thought that would be a cute thing to document for story number 5. And so I am just using this little skinny piece of paper. I thought was perfect. I just have this one photo. And I trimmed out this cut apart sheet, and I also trimmed out the doily. I didn't want to waste some of the doily, so I did just trim a little part off so that all I had to do was glue and use that one piece. And then I ended up stitching on the cut apart card just to make it look a little more interesting. It already had some printed stitch detail, and I wanted to add some real stitch detail, so I just did that in some red thread. And now I'm gluing this doily on here, and then that will pop on the very top of this particular page. And then I did ink around the edges, and I did trim the corners out. I thought the corners were just a little too, I don't know, harsh, so I thought trimming the corners just off a little bit just makes it a little bit softer. And then I punched out this number 5 from a printable sheet that I've had in my stash, and I'm going to use that for the story number. And now I'm just looking through my paper, trying to figure out what I want to back the photo with. I want to be able to put my story on the back of the photo, and so I didn't want the white of the photo showing, so I'm going to put it on this particular piece of paper, and I thought that would look nice. It was a nice simple paper, and that was just going to go in the background. And I will end up actually putting another cut apart sheet just to give it a bit more interest. So when you flip it up, it has something on it. So you'll see that here in a little bit. But right now I'm just gluing this down, and then I will trim everything out. Hope you guys are having a great holiday season so far. I am enjoying working in my December daily. Now that I'm not working right now, I have some time and I can relax and play in my journal. I haven't really scrapbooked much like this in so long, besides obviously the last couple of stories I've been doing. And it just feels really, really nice. It's hard to get motivated sometimes with a lot of things going on in life and all that. And it's just been really nice to have some relaxation time, not need to be worried about work. My daughter's not at school right now. I don't have to worry about and stress about that kind of stuff. So it's just been really nice to just, chill out. So hopefully you guys have had some time to chill out as well, and I hope you're enjoying, like I said, the season. If you are liking these videos, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. The thumbs up really helps me know that you guys are liking these videos and just lets me know that you're interested. Also, anytime you ever want to leave a comment or anything, I love chatting with you guys. I haven't had a lot of comments recently on my videos, so I miss hearing from you guys. So if you would like to leave a comment, even just to say hi, I would really appreciate that. Any little bit makes me happy and makes my day, so anything like that is appreciated. So I'm just inking around the edge of the photo. I want to make sure I have my photo the right way so that when you flip this up, it won't be upside down. And I'm going to glue the little car on. I don't know, it says holiday cheer or sending holiday cheer. I don't know, really maybe didn't go with the theme of the card, but I guess, the fact that he reminds me of that movie, that Christmas movie, he's sending me holiday cheer. So I felt it worked well, and I just like the color. So, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason for doing what you do in the scrapbooking, and that's okay. You just do what feels good and what you think looks nice, and that's all that matters. So now I'm going to glue down this piece finally, and I'm going to glue that at the top of the page. And then I want to make sure that everything's going to fit nicely, and I don't want that doily over too much above the top, so I notice here that I did put it up a little bit too high, so I'm going to scoot it down just a little bit. I don't mind the doily coming out of the top just a little bit, but I didn't want it too much. It is pretty fragile, so I want to be careful. And then I'm just going to glue here. The dry adhesive that I was using wasn't really sticking to the doily, so I'm just going to use some liquid glue to make sure that the doily is relatively secure so that it doesn't get bent up in the book. And now I want to add the photo of the cat, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to use to tape that down, and I end up using some clear Scotch tape, and you really don't notice that it's on there. I didn't want to put a washi because I was worried that it was going to cover too much of that holly piece that is on the cut apart. So I'm just going to use this Scotch tape here, and I'm going to burnish it down, and you really can't even tell it's on here. I try to make sure that I only put it on the white border of the photo. I think if I had it on the actual darker part of the photo, you would be able to see it, but by putting it on the white border, you really don't even notice it, and then when I burnish it down, you can barely even tell that it is on this card. So just burnishing that down really well. And then on this side, I'm going to use some clear tape as well, but I am going to add some colored washi because I had some of that cut apart showing through, and I didn't want to show that, and I didn't mind covering that up, obviously, because I wanted to not have it showing. So I will pull some gingham green washi from my stash and then add that there just to camouflage that, and I think it looks cute and adds another layer of detail. These are some Simple Stories washi that I think I got maybe last year from a Christmas collection they had out. And now I'm going to add my number 5 for the story number 5. Just glue that down. I'm going to add a title to that little kind of piece of paper that's on that cut apart sheet that just says A Christmas Story, and then all my journaling is going to go below underneath that photo. So now I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else I can add to this page. I felt like it was just kind of boring. There's a lot of dark space because it's in that cabinet. So I pull out 3 vellum embossed snowflakes that I've had made, I think, for quite some time now. I just pulled them out of my stash. And I'm going to pull 3 that I like, and then I'm also going to pull 1 stamped image of the word joy. It's an Allie Edwards stamp. I think the Christmas or the snowflake stamps are, an old stamp set that I think I got from Michael's. And then, oh no, it says Jolly. Did I say Jolly? I can't remember what I said, but it's a Jolly stamp, and that's an Allie Edwards circle stamp from one of her Christmas collections. And I'm just gluing that down with some 3-in-1 because it's clear. It works a little bit better, and it's not a water base. It doesn't wrinkle up your vellum, so I highly recommend using something like that when you're gluing down vellum. The liquid wet glue really does like wrinkle the paper, and the dry adhesive, I find that you can see that a lot more. So I find that using the 3-in-1 really helps camouflage the fact that it's glued on, and then it also doesn't wrinkle. So it works really well. So that does bend right there where the top of the snowflake is, but I just creased it a little bit and it's fine. It ends up bending nicely because it is that vellum. It's kind of a cardstock vellum, so it's a bit thicker, but it ends up working just fine, and it bends up without really causing any problems. So now I'm just going through and seeing what else I want to do. I'm trying to figure out, I really want something else on that top, but I end up just putting A Christmas Story with the titling, and then I have my journaling here. I had a lot of extra space, so I pulled this floral design out from the sticker book, and it was a bit too white, so I just add a little bit of brown ink just to kind of take it back in the background a bit more. And then I'm going to look to see what else I want to put. I end up adding my cat's name, which is Sid. I'm going to add that with these sticker letters here. And then I feel like I need something else. I pull out this #1 good boy, I think it says, and I wanted to put it down here below where I have Sid, but it just didn't sit right. So I'm going to play around trying to figure out where I want to put this. Ultimately, I end up adding it right below the Spreading Holiday Cheer card. It just looked like it was too much there. I really wanted it there, but it was just too much. So I end up putting it up there on that top card. Still trying to figure out where I want to put that. I really want to cover up some of that clutter in the closet, but it just still didn't look right, so I end up putting it right here instead. So now I'm going to be working on story number 6. This is when me and my daughter went to kind of a main street in our town and watched a parade and did some shopping. So I have a couple photos from this day. She wasn't feeling very good. Normally I get a lot more photos down here, but that photo of her in the top left is pretty much all I got, just because, you know, she just wasn't feeling well, so she really didn't want her picture taken. So I was just happy to get that particular one, and then I kind of left her alone and bother getting more pictures. They have a lot of cute little scenes and stuff there, so there's a lot of cute opportunities for photos, but like I said, she just wasn't feeling super great, which is fine. It was a gorgeous day, though. The weather was absolutely beautiful. We didn't even need coats. It actually was even a little bit warm. It was sunny. It was just really, really gorgeous. So although she wasn't feeling super great, at least we got some vitamin D from the sun, and we were able to enjoy our time together. And, you know, it was just a good time overall. And so what I wanted to do here is I have this printable doily from, I can't remember who this is from. I can probably look it up and let you guys know if you're interested. Just leave me a comment below and I can look that up. Maybe Johanna Claw, possibly. I can't remember. But I'm just going to ink it up a little bit. I really like how it looks. It seems to go with the vibe of this kind of vintage traditional Christmas that they have down on Main Street. So I'm just going to glue this down with some dry adhesive and kind of tuck it up underneath the photos. And I really like how that looks. I really like these printable napkins or doilies and things like that. Just the linens look really, really nice printed. So I really recommend those too. If you don't have vintage linens in your stash, this is a good way to be able to use them without actually having to cut up or get vintage linens. So now I just want to add a few more elements around the page, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I think I want to put this green label here. I don't believe I end up adding that. I end up doing something a little bit different, but I still have it out because I think I'm going to use it. And I'm going to pull out this Merry and Bright chipboard. It has a little bit of those little, I don't know, dimples or whatever you want to call them from punching it out. So I'll get a little file and I'll file those down. And then I will add a little ink because when I filed it, it kind of took away some of the color of the paper. So I'll add a little ink just to camouflage that. I'm also going to put that little green ruffle that I made, and it was sitting in my stash. I'm going to put that in the top right. And now I'm just looking through to see what else I might want to pull to add a bit more decoration. I wanted something in that bottom left corner underneath where that Merry and Bright is, so I'll pull that out here in a second. This chipboard is much too thick with my album getting so chunky now. I wanted to make it a little bit thinner, so I do end up peeling some of the chipboard off. It still gives you the dimension of the chipboard because it still has a bit of thickness, but it's just not quite so chunky, and it works better when you don't want to bulk up your album so much. So I'll end up gluing that down here in a little bit after I glue down the ruffle and then the other sticker I was playing with. So I really like this one. It looks like a little ornament. I thought that would be really cute. I end up poking a hole in the top, and then I will string through some baker's twine, some red and white baker's twine, to make it look like it's a little ornament hanging from the Be Merry plaque that I'm going to add to the photo of my daughter. So now I am just pulling out that twine, pushing it through with the tip of my tweezers here, and I'm going to end up tying a bow. I thought that would look cute. Stick that down. I do cut more than I need, but it just makes it easier to tie that bow. I'm going to tie a little tiny bow here at the top of the ornament. Again, just to give it some more texture and dimension. I really like how that looks. And then I will take that string and pull it up and then tuck it up underneath that Be Merry. So when I glue it all down, it's going to look like it's hanging from that Be Merry. So I really like how that looks. I'm going to use my 3-in-1 glue to glue down the Be Merry. First, I'm going to tack down the end of this string here so it doesn't move when I'm adding everything else down after I trim it. And then I will glue down the Be Merry sign. I'm also going to add a bit of glue to the bow. I don't want the bow to come apart, so I'm going to take my art glitter glue and add a little bit of glue to that bow so it kind of holds it in place. And then I do add a punch on top of this Be Merry sign. It's on kind of the curve of the book and it just wasn't sticking quite well, so I will add that punch just to kind of hold it down while it's drying. And you can see here I'm just adding some of that art glitter glue to the bow to keep it on the page and just to make sure it doesn't come undone. Fixing the string, I kind of messed it up a bit when I was messing with the bow. And then pushing that little bow back down, adding the glue, and then that element should be done here. Just making sure it's tacked down nicely. And then I will work on the right-hand side of the page, which is adding my number, my story number, the ruffle, and then my journaling. Again, just using that 3-in-1 glue to glue the ruffle down. I like this glue, especially with fabric. It works on fabric really nicely. It kind of sits on the fabric instead of soaking into the fabric like some of the wet glue, so I prefer this when I'm using fabric. And now I'm going to pull out my sticker books, trying to figure out what number I want to use. I do want to pull out some of these word phrases, so I do grab a couple of these that I'm going to add on the photos. So I put one on the photo of the carriage with the horse carrying Santa and Mrs. Claus, and then I'm also going to add a small one on this picture of the people dancing in the parade. Looking through to see if there's anything else I want to use. I do end up pulling Happy Holidays from this page and adding it to the top of the photo of my daughter. Again, just kind of bringing some of that color across the page, and it just kind of helps to connect the vintage linen to the photo, and then just, I don't know, I just kind of think it brings things together, just that little bit of element there. And now I'm pulling out the numbers. So I'm going to pull out a number 6, yes, gold 6, and then I want to layer it. It just looked kind of too plain sitting there, and I was going to use that green label, but I don't like how that's looking. So I'm actually going to go pull through this other sticker book and find something else, and I'm going to use 2 different stickers. I'm going to use this label sticker here, and then I'm also going to pull another one from the Simple Stories pack. I thought that was just a little bit too small still, and I wanted to have a bit more dimension and layering, so I end up pulling December from here. You'll see that here in a second. I was wanting to use a circle because I liked how the square and the circle element was going to go together, but I couldn't find anything that was going to fit nicely without covering up too much of the writing. So I do end up pulling the word December. Again, just looking through to see if there's anything else I can use. Thought about using the label, but again, just didn't seem to work right. And then ultimately I'm going to pull this December. I like how that number 6, the top loop of the 6, kind of tucks in on that label. You'll see here in a second. And I just like how it all fits together. I do ink it up just to give it a bit more dimension. And see how that just kind of tucks next to that R? I don't know. I just really like how that looks. So I'm going to glue that all together, make sure it sits nicely, and then I'm going to add that there right above the picture of the horses, or the horse. And then at the end here, you're going to see my journaling. Again, just typing it on my typewriter with some coffee dyed paper and cutting the strips out. Just really like that look. And that's it. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys again very soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.